4 as they take it 111-95.
That sound courtesy of the NBA YouTube channel. Jalen Brunson led all scorers with 26 points and dishing out 10 assists. Karl Anthony Towns added 21 points and 12 rebounds, while OG Anunoby contributed with 15 points on 83% shooting. For the Raptors, Brandon Ingram scored 31 points, RJ Barrett dropped 20, but Toronto struggled from long range, shooting just 8 for 28. With the victory, New York extended its season series dominance over Toronto and remains third in the Eastern Conference standings. Continuing in the NBA, as the San Antonio Spurs destroyed the Philadelphia 76ers 131-91. San Antonio took the driver's seat early, opening with a strong first quarter that closed with a 7-point lead. The Spurs didn't let up in the second. They uncorked a 16-0 run that ballooned their lead and carried them into halftime, winning by 25. Philadelphia's offense unraveled in the third quarter, managing just 11 points, and San Antonio extended its lead further with a dominant period that effectively put the game out of reach. From there, the Spurs didn't have to do much down the stretch and finished with one of the most lopsided wins of the season.
131-91. This is a 40-point game. And mercifully, it is now over.
Mitch Johnson's got to be very, very happy the way his team bounced back from that game in New York after scoring 89 points.
That sound courtesy of the NBA YouTube channel. Devin Vassell and Dylan Harper led all scorers for San Antonio with 22 points each, with Vassell drilling 6 three-pointers and with Harper scoring efficiently off the bench. Stephon Castle added a 15-point, 10-assist double-double, and Victor Wembanyama contributed 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocks. For the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey led with 21 points and 8 rebounds, while Jabari Walker chipped in with 20 points in the loss. Philadelphia was short-handed, shot poorly, and were getting outplayed on both ends of the floor, and they will take on the Utah Jazz at home on Wednesday. Now to the NFL, as the Arizona Cardinals have informed former number 1 overall draft pick Kyler Murray that they plan to release him next Wednesday when the new league year begins, barring a trade. The Kyler Murray era with the Arizona Cardinals is officially coming to a close. Murray was already guaranteed $36.8 million for 2026 and would have been guaranteed another $19.5 million for 2027 if he was still on the roster on March 16th, which is the 5th day of the 2026 league year. Although injuries have not been kind to Murray, he has thrown for 121 touchdowns and 60 interceptions, with 32 rushing touchdowns in 7 seasons. Finishing in the MLB, as Atlanta Braves designated hitter Jerickson Profar has received an 162-game suspension after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug for the second time in the past year. Profar tested positive for, quote, exogenous testosterone and its metabolites, the league said, adding that the suspension would take effect on Friday. Profar is 33 and now the 6th player to receive an 162-game ban for PED use since the MLB increased the penalty for two-time offenders to a full season in 2014. He will forfeit the entirety of his $15 million salary and will be ineligible for the postseason. Profar will also be ineligible for the upcoming World Baseball Classic, where he was set to represent the Netherlands. We're the best damn sports report for a reason. Listen daily at the top of the hour on 107.7 The Bronx, online at 107.7thebronx.com, and on our Apple, Google Play, and Alexa for free. The Best Damn Sports Report is underwritten by B2 Bistro and Bar on Route 130 in Bordentown. Enjoy a happy hour every Monday through Friday and all day Sunday. Live from Rider University, I'm CJ Jackson.
And it's out of here! And 107.7 The Bronx wins again with the Best Damn Sports Report. To never miss a hit like that one, find it all at 1077thebronx.com/Best Damn Sports Report. And as the Bronx rounds home plate, we're getting back to the biggest hits and best variety on 107.7 The Bronx.
1077 The Bronx /1077thebronx.com, winner of 3 2026 Intercollegiate Broadcasting Systems Media Awards for Best On-Air Pledge Drive and our first ever Radiothon, Best Giveaway for Wake Up Riders Morning Bagel Run and Jewelry Spree, and Best Station Poster by Jake Goebel for Scream Screen. This is Beyond the Score. I am your host, CJ Jackson. We're back for another episode. I'm in my Rodgers jersey today. I felt as though today would be a great day to bring it out, and it was because I guess I'm going to tie this into just being the NFL being active. But yeah, there was a trade today, and we're going to report it. And I'm not sure if anybody knows, but as of 12 o'clock today, an hour and 5 minutes ago, actually, the Chiefs send cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams for 4 draft picks. Now, I was tucked away in my little corner preparing for this show, And this kind of slipped under the radar. I didn't end up seeing this until about 10 minutes before I went live. So this is also news to me as well. So package of draft picks includes the 29th overall selection in this draft. So the Chiefs, they bring in a first-round pick. McDuffie is a talented player, but we talked not too long ago about let's see, I have it on the dates now. This is one thing this semester. I kept all my notes on the same doc this year, so everything is documented. I talked a lot about what the Rams needed. I'm trying to look at the mock draft, see what I definitely mocked them up. Yeah, pick 13 had them going corner, and then look, they bring in McDuffie. You don't need that draft pick. And then even in my little segment a few weeks ago with the best fit for the free agents and stuff. Oh, this is a mess. This is only stuff I can really understand in the moment during the show. Right now, this looks like jumbled mess. Alontae Taylor, I had him best fit going to the Rams as well. So they found their corner in McDuffie, and they're solidifying that secondary, which is a great move for a team that has such a talented offense. The defense is one of the biggest, I guess, facets of the game that you should really solidify, and they did that with McDuffie. So let's see. Other than the 29th selection, let's see. 2026 5th round pick, 6th round pick. So back to 5th and 6th and 26, and a 3rd and 27. So this is a big deal. And honest reaction off rip, I do like this trade for both sides. 4 draft picks, including the number 29th selection in this draft for McDuffie. I get it. He's a great guy, great player, but still. I mean, the Chiefs, after finishing 6-11 last year, Mahomes goes down with an injury. You kind of have to take a step back, say, hey, we did win 3 Super Bowls. We did have a dynasty, or we did win however many Super Bowls over that time. We did have a dynasty. It fell. But we need to kind of take our foot off the gas. We can kind of continue that push towards the Super Bowl, but let's take our foot off the gas and kind of hunker down and gather draft picks going forward. Because obviously a 6-11 season was not what you wanted to see if you were the Kansas City Chiefs. So I like the trade. I mean, there's some other news too in my sport report this morning, which actually you heard before I went live. Kyler Murray was actually just informed that he will be cut on Wednesday, which is insane to think about. Former number 1 overall draft pick, and now you think about it, man, should have picked baseball, right? Kyler Murray drafted in the first round in baseball to the Oakland Athletics, drafted in the first round to the Cardinals. Granted, Cardinals was number 1. Athletics, I believe, was picked 9, I believe. But yeah, it's not tragic, but it is sort of upsetting to see, because Murray was a talented player, especially in that era with DeAndre Hopkins, that season they had not too long ago. But it just seemed like everything fell down for Murray and the Cardinals. The offensive line issues, the injury issues, wasn't running much because of the injury. It was definitely time for the Cardinals to reevaluate, and I don't blame them for pulling the plug. I mean, you're saving a lot of money. He was guaranteed $36.8 million for next season, and then he would have been guaranteed another $19 million for 2027. And that's even if he didn't play, he's guaranteed that money. So get him off the squad before the new league year resets. Get him off your books and reevaluate if you're the Cardinals from front office standpoint. Or what are you going to do with quarterback? Are you going to ride it out with Brissett? That's obviously a bridge quarterback. So I don't know if they address it in the draft. This is a very, very poor draft for quarterbacks. So it's interesting to see what they will do. But news aside, not expecting to see much, especially, actually we did just get into March, got out of February, getting ever so closely to the draft. I'm itching for it. I'm in Pittsburgh, draft's in Pittsburgh. But yeah, just to recap last week, because it was a little bit of an unorthodox show, not by any format that I'm used to. I wanted to kind of just do a giant league recap but the mouth kept running, and I only managed to fit in the NFC, only not the NFC, the AFC, only the half of the league, only 16 teams. So I said, you know what? I'll dedicate next week to the NFC, and we'll make it a little bit of two-parter. So this is the NFC show, and I mean, if you guys couldn't guess already, I have no guest today. I want to change that. Hopefully next week we can get somebody back in here and have some debates and some conversations. I've been toying around with the idea of doing a trivia, which would be really cool, especially with this new video camera format thing. So I'm excited for what is to come. And then also, I'm a football show, but I am more than just a football guy. I am a baseball dude at heart. And once baseball starts, I'm thinking I'm going to implement. I think I'm going to weave some stuff together. You know, we're stop being a one-dimensional show, if that makes sense. So for the time being, with no baseball starting, actually World Baseball Classic starts tomorrow, we're going to get into the NFC, and we're going to start with the NFC East. And no particular order. This is how I listed them down and how I wrote them down. Dallas Cowboys is the first team that I'm going to start with. They finished 7-9-1. I always like seeing that 1 at the end of the record. It's always fun to see. I mean, that's not when the Steelers do it, especially against the Browns, especially against the Lions when they were bad. But those were the last two. Let's see. Breaking news from my dad. What did he say? Now that I'm on the cameras, he's probably listening. The Rams hate their first round pick. They do. They do. They do hate their first round picks. They do. But when you trade for a guy like McDuffie, do you really value them? McDuffie's a solidified talent, but nice shout. Didn't notice that. But back to the Cowboys. 7-9-1, tied against the Green Bay Packers in, I mean, they actually got away with it. They got away with the tie. They should be the ones happy with the one at the end. Not the Packers. The Packers completely threw that game out. But nonetheless, a little second highest offense in terms of total yards, 27 points per game, but allowed nearly 30 points per game late in the season. Actually, 30-plus points per game late in the season. So defensive struggles still have been a plague for the Cowboys, even not just this season, but prior seasons as well. And then now Trayvon Diggs, that whole thing. It's a mess over there. It sucks because I want to have a fully honest and unbiased. I'm not saying I'm going to, but I'm saying just in terms of I don't know how to feel about them. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't see what Jerry Jones does. I can't have the same hatred that I see other fans have towards them. Like a lot of the Eagles fans that I am around, I can't feel that same hatred towards them, but I do feel like this is a team that needs to be torn down in the front office. And that will never happen. And we're barking up the wrong tree. The whole media and everything. Oh, come on. Like, got to get Jerry Jones out of the front office. You got to. It's never happening. It's not happening. And I don't want to be the guy to say it, but it's not happening until you know what. It's not. But in terms of the full season for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously underwhelming. In the offseason, you had high expectations. You bring in George Pickens to complement CeeDee Lamb, which really, really worked. And then they just put the franchise tag on him as well. So you bring him back, Dak Prescott, you give him 2 premium targets, not to mention Jake Ferguson, who is a very, very solid tight end, and then Javonte Williams, who they really milked a lot of production out of him this year when people thought he was pretty much done with the whole injury situation, the Achilles and the ACL, all this. He was beaten up. And he was pretty much a cast-off. Cowboys bring him in. And they actually re-signed him, too. I believe it was it 3 years, $24 million? So $8 million a year for running backs, pretty decent money. But in terms of the Cowboys season, I'm going to give it a C-. I could have gone C or C+ in terms of how they performed offensively and the production. But just what you had there should have produced more than a 7-9-1 season, if that's making sense. Pickens was on a tear for weeks, and nobody could stop him. And it was clicking, but they dug themselves in a hole pretty early, and it's difficult. It's difficult when you struggle like that. But the Cowboys, I mean, they're always going to put up points. Will they stop points? No. But C- for the Cowboys. Next team, former. Actually, let's stop calling them champions because that is new cycle of champions, because that just plays in my head every time. Champion Philadelphia Eagles. It's just where I'm from, South Jersey, the nonstop South Jersey. Oh my God, Super Bowl. Anyway, the Eagles, 11-6 season. Underwhelming if you're an Eagles fan, and I saw it firsthand. You expect a lot, obviously a better season from the Philadelphia Eagles, especially coming off of a Super Bowl. But I think a lot of the true Eagles fans and a lot of the true football fans knew the moment Kellen Moore left and became the coach of the Saints, and they bring in Kevin Patullo internally. I remember last semester we talked about all of these new openings, or last year, all of these new job openings, and I'm talking about who's going to be good for the Eagles' opening offensive coordinator position. And I think nowadays in football, you have to hire within a football experience, a player experience is what I'm saying. Like all these quarterbacks, all these career, like Kellen Moore was a career backup quarterback. Obviously, he had some success, but he is knowledgeable. He has player knowledge. You hire Patullo within, it didn't work out, and he got the boot for it. He paid the price. Obviously, you go back to week one, you look at Eagles fans' face, you say, what do you think? They probably say 14-3 and another Super Bowl appearance. 11-6 in a first-round exit is a very, very, very disappointing season. And I'm sorry, but I have to give it a lower grade than what an average 11-6 season would be, just because of how heavy those expectations really were. I mean, you could tell it really weighed on them. Still, very balanced offense. The defense was obviously very, very strong, and it will continue to be strong. It was just the offense. Patullo didn't know how to run. He didn't know how to call an efficient run play, and didn't know how to B, baseball terminology. The term tunneling in baseball is when you throw a certain pitch to set up the next one. Patullo could not set up a sequence of plays to save his life. And there's this joke going around. It's like the Eagles' average drive. It's like Saquon Barkley run, Saquon Barkley up the middle, Saquon Barkley up the middle, A.J. Brown deep ball, punt. I mean, it was like that for a bit. I mean, not like that every time, but I mean, a punt's a punt no matter how you get there. So for the Eagles, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give you guys a B-. Now, 11-6 season probably gives you guys, probably gives a normal with average expectations, not carrying Super Bowl expectations right back into another season, would have warranted probably a B+, but B-, I have to give it a B-. Moving on, we're going to fit these last two teams. They're very not important. I'm not saying they're, all right, maybe I am saying, but I'm just saying in terms of what to talk about, obviously the Commanders and Giants. Commanders finished 5-12. The Giants finished 4-13. We'll mix these together. Obviously, I have a lot to talk more about the Giants than I do the Commanders. The Commanders seem to just fall apart. Kind of a Cinderella season that you saw last year. NFC Championship appearance did allow 55 points. I mean, that should have been a telltale sign of, hey, there's something wrong and this team is not going to win unless whatever that was, which was the defense and the secondary, and not being physical enough in that secondary. You saw it, and then boom, right when Jaden Daniels went down, it was a landslide all the way down to the bottom of the standings. But nonetheless, I think next year you come back, Jaden Daniels fully healthy, McLaurin, he's getting older, Debo's getting older. These guys are slowing down. I don't know how much time these guys have left. But in terms of the 2025-2026 season, the Commanders, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give you a D. And not the lowest grade I've given out. Obviously, we did the Jets last week, but I'm going to have to give you a D. It was a very, very bad season. There's not much else to say. At 41 total touchdowns, their defense allowed well over league, above average yardage amongst the entire league. It just inconsistency from the start. And like I said, kind of same expectations with the Philadelphia Eagles. You go to a Super Bowl and you win it, you're expected to come back next season and compete. And same thing with the Commanders and the Jaden Daniels. Rookie quarterback gets to the NFC Championship. You expect him to do it again, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to have to give them a D. And to wrap it up, I kind of mentioned the Giants. Will last 30 seconds before we head to underwriting announcements. Great. I liked it. I liked the season. Don't care about the record. You went out in the draft. You got Jackson Dart. Got a lot of heat for it. Started Russell Wilson. Got a lot of heat for it. Dable ends up getting fired. Dart makes his debut first. Dable gets fired. But then watching Dart and Scat play for a few weeks, you're like, oh, this team's got life. Malik Neighbors goes down. A series of unfortunate events for the Giants last year. And I can't really hold that against them. I can't say, Giants, you get a D because Scat broke his ankle and Malik Neighbors exploded his knee and Dable couldn't hold a lead to save his life in the fourth quarter. I can't do that. I'm going to give this a perfectly average season for the Giants. For the Giants. High draft pick, come out, draft some talent, and then next year with Harbaugh, make the pieces click. I always like to say puzzle pieces, that analogy. The puzzle pieces are set. You got all the players, however many players John Harbaugh has in your training camp, and you say, put the pieces together and make it work. That's how it's got to go. But we're going to send it back for some underwriting announcements. So mark your calendars. 107.7 The Bronx Excellent Egg Hunt is on its way. Join us on the campus mall on Tuesday, March 31st at 11 a.m. to experience the event the Bronx won the best giveaway for at the 2025 IBS Media Awards. Don't forget, there are 10,000 eggs and 20,000 pieces of candy, and a chance to win so many cool prizes, including our biggest and most iconic prize, a 3 or 4 night Royal Caribbean cruise for 2 to the Bahamas, provided by Josh Harry Travel. For more details, including a list of other activities and bites to eat, go to 1077thebronx.com/egghunt. We'll be back with more Beyond the Score after these underwriting announcements on the Princeton Review's 18th ranked college radio station, 1077 The Bronx.
Wake Up Rider on 1077 The Bronx needs you to tell mother, father, whoever to tune in. Be good to yourself.
New video stream is officially live, and you can listen to The Bronc on air, online, and on app to watch your favorite student shows live on The Bronc's YouTube channel and Facebook at 1077 The Bronc. That actually made no sense. Including Bronc After Hours, Tri-State Sports Ramble, High Stakes, The Journey Across the Sports World, Cliff Notes, and now Wake Up Rider. Keep it tuned to The Bronc to listen and also watch your favorite student shows. And in the future, welcome back to Beyond the Score on your 5-time National Association of Broadcasters radio nominated station 1077 The Bronc. These are the death of me. I'm sorry. I just don't like reading them, and I can't. I struggle. And it's not a skill issue, I swear. Anyway, we're back for our second segment. I'm your host, CJ Jackson. First segment, we covered some news, some trade news, and then there were also I talked about Kyler Murray, and then we did the first division in the NFC, which is the NFC East. Now we will continue. Next division is the NFC North. And our first team I have listed here, the Chicago Bears. 11-6 season. I just went off the rails. Not off the rails, but I just talked about how the Eagles had an 11-6 season, but I couldn't give them a grade equal to that level, just on how that season went. And the Chicago Bears sitting at 11-6. This is a season where I can give more than what an 11-6 record is warranted for. You know what I mean? This was a phenomenal season, and it's not even if, all right, if you put the numbers up between Bears and Eagles, or Bears and any team that finished 11-6, maybe they're a little inferior. But think about it. The Bears didn't make the playoffs for years. The Bears have been miserable for years. And all you've been trying to find is A, a quarterback, and B, a coach. And one, you got your quarterback in Caleb Williams. Obviously, his rookie season wasn't the greatest. Comes back next season. You get Ben Johnson from a division rival. That doesn't happen much often. You know, I mean, obviously, it's different when guys are getting promoted. It's different when, player goes from same role to same role, just different team. When you're getting promoted as a coach from coordinator to head coach, sure, maybe it matters less. But then you go get Ben Johnson, mastermind offensively. You DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Romo Dunze, draft Colson Loveland, great get. Like I said, you also drafted Luther Burden. Like I said, offense was great. And then you think, well, what about their offensive line? That's always been they were great. Oh, what about their run game? Oh, DeAndre Swift? He was good. Oh, what about the other guy back there, Kyle Monangai, that they drafted way at the back of, I think, 6th or 7th round out of Rutgers? He had a phenomenal season, and he perfectly complemented DeAndre Swift. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, which no longer exists, as Montgomery was traded to Houston the other day. But obviously, roles were reversed. DeAndre Swift is much older than Monangai. He's a rookie, and Swift is, he's the agile, quick one, and Monangai is, I'm just gonna run right into you, and if you can stop me, you can. If you can't, you can't. 25.9 points per game, so you can round that up, 26 points per game. Almost 50 total touchdowns on the season, finished one short. The defense, man, was great all season. For some reason, they really put it together, and I'm not going to say love is a strong word, but my interest in the Chicago Bears spiked when they were on Hard Knocks a few years ago when they drafted Caleb Williams. Think about that. I know they recently just changed the rules, but it was forever. The rule was you have to be a bad team to be on Hard Knocks. And the Bears were on Hard Knocks. Obviously, it was a great show. But you could really see that there was something there. Didn't know what it was yet, and they found it. They found it this season. I'm giving them an A. A season for the Bears. Obviously, nothing to show for, but so does 31 other teams have nothing to show for as well. A for the Bears. Moving on, we had the Green Bay Packers. 9-7-1 is their record. Same record as the Cowboys, other than you flip the wins and losses. Like I said, the Cowboys are on the happy side of that tie as Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love and that entire offense just blew that game in overtime. And I wasn't really that impressed by the Packers. They lost some pretty easy games. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Panthers. Those are games you should win. The defense did keep them in several games. Obviously, with the Jordan Love injury later in the season, Malik Willis comes in, and you're still trying to stay afloat in a division that is that of that magnitude, especially out of nowhere too. Obviously, I mean the Vikings and Lions did have a pretty. I mean, Vikings whatever, but the Lions, they did have a down year. But still, a tough division. And the Bears actually, it's crazy to say it, they actually ended up winning it. In all of my years, I'm 19 years old. In my prime years of football, when I was a teenager in middle school and high school, my prime years of football, the Bears were bad and the Packers were good. And to see the Bears on top of the Packers is wild. But I'm going to give the Packers just a B. B season, man. I mean, there's not much else to say. You're 9-7-1. There was nothing crazy. I mean, maybe Jordan Love doesn't go down and you play a fully healthy season with him. You win the games that you should have. Those are 2 games that I listed you should have won. That puts you at 11-5-1. That's infinitely better, and that actually wins you the division. Anyway, moving on. We have the Minnesota Vikings here. They finished 9-8. I mean, hold on one second. So I want to pull up on ESPN so I can see it easier. Yeah, all right. Vikings, 9-8, 5th. Or wait, no, my bad. 108 rushing yards per game. That was literally the only thing that I can sit and say, great job. J.J. McCarthy experiment failed miserably. And, I mean, there are arguments that's still going, I believe. There are definitely arguments that's still going. But I really, really don't think they should really chase this much longer. You had Sam Darnold in your hands. He won you 14 games. I don't care if Sam Darnold is in your head oh, he was a bust. Why? Because of what he did in New York and what he did in wherever else and being a backup. Who cares? He won you 14 games, and you went out and drafted a guy who was carried by a Hall of Fame level coach in Harbaugh in Michigan, and then literally the best running back in college football at the time, Blake Corum. He never showed anything really as a prolific passer, and then you throw him out there and say, yeah, get the ball to Justin Jefferson. How do you expect Justin Jefferson to be productive with J.J. McCarthy? I don't know who up in that office is watching the film, who is making the decisions. I don't get it, but J.J. McCarthy, he's shown some flashes, but he is never going to be a guy to come out there and complete 35 passes and get Jefferson his money and get him his receptions. Feed him. He is easily the best receiver in football if you give him the volume to be the best receiver in football. I guess I'm focusing too much on the offense. The defense, I mean, Brian Flores did a phenomenal job. The pass rush was great. I mean, it just gets caught up on the offense. It's J.J. McCarthy, and that's the big issue. And I really can't sit here and pound the defense. And I'm trying to kind of make this quicker because we got a lot more teams to go through. But I'm going to give the Minnesota Vikings, from how it started to how it ended, I'm going to give them a C, leaning C-. Obviously, they finished closer to around 500. But I think there are some big question marks, and it starts with the guy that is taking the snaps. It's the guy that's under center. Last team in this division, we have the Detroit Lions, and a miserable season for them. What a fall from grace. Just when we thought, wow, this is when the Lions just come out of nowhere from, again, being another one of those teams that are just bad forever. In my lifetime, at least. I mean, they've pretty much been bad forever. But go back to 2023, 12-5. You go back to last year, 15-2. That was their season last year. That was their year. Ended up getting beat by the Commanders, which I talked about not too long ago in that miracle run. And then now you come out this year and you're 9-8. Now you trade Montgomery, so the two premium backs you kind of not built your identity around, but definitely focused your offense. It definitely had a huge part in what they had going on over there. That's done, and I believe this is the Ben Johnson effect. You take Ben Johnson from Detroit, you put him in Chicago, and look what happens. I mean, look what happens. I mean, granted, they did well scoring. Over 6,000 total yards, 28 points per game. They were fifth in total league offense. The defense was strong. They forced a lot of turnovers last year. But they had 8 games decided by 7 or fewer points. And I like to use this, and that's going to be a stat to remember going into next year. When you're looking at a team, let's say the Broncos from this year. The Broncos, they come out and they win. I don't even know how many games by one. It was one score games. They won 8 straight, or I don't know if it was consecutive, but they won however many games by one score. Do you think that will sustain itself going into next season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And actually, an even better example is you go back to the Chiefs last season. Not last season, the season before where they lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles. You go back there, they had a similar season where they had easily over 5 games, almost close to 10, decided by one score games. And look what happened. It could not sustain itself at all. I'll steer this to baseball as well. A few years ago, the Miami Marlins, they snuck into the playoffs. They snuck into the playoffs and faced the Phillies in the wild card because they won an astronomical amount of games by one run. That's not sustaining itself. And look what happened the next year. They were immediately at the bottom in the NL. Immediately. I don't think. Oh man, I just closed out my tab. I don't think it's going to sustain itself. But luck is involved. Luck's always involved, no matter what sport you're playing. And this is a scenario where, I guess those examples were really going towards, they were going towards the teams that were losing, or winning those games. I mean, the Lions were losing these games. Question is, can they come back and win them? We'll have to see. But for the season, Detroit, I'm not sure if I already gave a grade, but I'm leaning C. Average year. Average year, you're 9-8, above 500, didn't make the playoffs. So what? Moving on, Carolina Panthers, 8-9 record. I'm going to come off the bat here and just give them a grade. I enjoyed watching the Panthers this season. They were a wholesome team to watch, I'll say. Bryce Young is an enjoyable football player to watch. I'm going to give them a B. A B. I just think a lot of these teams right now are beating these. I guess if you follow these teams, you can see this coming. Like, I didn't see really the Panthers coming out and making doing what they did. Like I said, obviously, since Cam Newton left and Kuechly and all those guys from the 2010s, the Panthers really have been stuck in a bad place. Obviously, I'm blanking on his name. Andy Dalton, Baker Mayfield, all these guys you coming in here play for you. I mean, wouldn't you want Baker back? But anyway, great season. Dave Canales found something in Bryce Young, triggered him. Actually, all props to Rod Wave. If you know ball, you know ball. All props to Rod Wave. This is his doing. when Bryce Young got benched and he was having a rough time, Rod Wave, Bryce Young, text me. Send me a DM. What Rod Wave said to Bryce Young to turn him into a baller, I don't know. But the Panthers had a great year last year. I wish I sunk more research into this. I kind of towards the end. I mean, NFC is not my bag as much as it is AFC, but still, I'm going to give the Carolina Panthers a B season. Moving forward, because we have 15 minutes remaining in the show and also have to make time for underwriting announcements as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, an equal season, 8-9, but equal as in record, not as in how, they got to 8-9. Let's see. Since I closed out my ESPN tab, now I have to crawl all the way back to it. One moment, please. All right. Action. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm sorry, C-. You had all of the pieces offensively. 3, possibly almost 4 receivers that are easily going to go to any team and get playing time. McMillan, obviously in the beginning of the season, went down with a concussion, but you had Egbuka out of the draft, Godwin, Evans. You also have Bucky Irving and Rachaad White out of the backfield. And Baker Mayfield, I don't know, it seemed like some games didn't know really what to do with it. Beginning of the season, a lot of Egbuka. At the end of the season, no Egbuka. And you kind of saw them trickle off towards the end, and they ultimately missed the playoffs. I mean, let's see. You come out, you win 3 straight. Boom, boom, boom. Then you fall to the Eagles. You win 2 more, you're 5-1. You're 5-1 through your first 5 games. You want to make it even better? You're 6-2 through your first 8 games. Then you lose a streak of 3. Granted, three tough losses. Patriots, Bills, Rams. You win a game against the Cardinals. But then look at this stretch at the end of the season. Completely ice cold. Lost to the Saints. Lost to the Falcons in a 1-point game. Lost to the Panthers in a 3-point game. Lost to the Dolphins in a 3-point game. That Saints game that I mentioned in the beginning was a 4-point game. Those are 4 games you lose by 4 or less points consecutive and knocked you right out of the playoffs. You beat the Panthers at the end of the season, but it didn't matter at that point because the other game, the Panthers actually sneak in. So Tampa, very, very underwhelming season. I am a believer in them. I really am. But it didn't work out this season, so C. And now I look at the time and we got to go to some underwriting announcements. If you build it, our Bronx will devour it. Introducing the contest that will cement your legacy at Rider University forever. Announcing 107.7 The Bronx first ever Build the Ultimate Bronkwich competition. Build the Bronc, or be the Bronc who creates Rider's new signature sandwich to be served at Muller's Pub and on the Yo Cuz Yellow Food Trailer, and will send you and a guest on a Royal Caribbean cruise for 2 to the Bahamas from Josh Harry Travel. However you slice it, this contest eats. Man. Go to 1077thebronc.com/buildabronkwich for complete details and how you can enter to win. We'll be back with more Beyond the Score after these underwriting announcements on your 3-time 2026 IBS Media Award winner, 1077 The Bronc.
Oh, it's so hot. I'm so hungry.
We'll be right back.
at 1077 The Bronx, which means there's a lot of behind the scenes content to be seen. Funny reels, station highlights, sponsor trips, and exclusive moments are just a few of the reasons why you should engage with The Bronx on social media. Keep up with The Bronx. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at 1077 The Bronx, on TikTok at 1077 The Bronx WRRC, and even on Facebook at 1077 The Bronx. To see what we're up to on and off the air, welcome back to Beyond the Score on your 5-time NAB Marconi Radio Award nominated station, college radio station, 1077 The Bronx. So if you are just joining, I'm your host, CJ Jackson, and this is our final segment. We have 6 teams to get through. I'm sorry, I talk way too much. I got to figure out a tempo. But I'd like to announce that over the break, I just booked and confirmed next week, hopefully, we will do our trivia episode, and I recruited my podmate and colleague Joshua Uhas. Hopefully can get some other people on here as well. I'll need to find a proctor because I want to participate, and it's going to be a great time before spring break. So just to wrap up our show here today, we're going to go through our last final 6 teams. We have 2 teams in the NFC South that we didn't get to, and then we will head out to the NFC West, and we will close it out. So we left off, or the last team we did was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now on to the Atlanta Falcons, another 8-9 season, but they actually did turn it around towards the end, kind of on track for a bad year. But nonetheless, I guess you look at it through one dimension. Hey, they were 8-9. That's one game away from 500. A few years ago, if you don't have week 18, that is 500. But anyway, looking at their game logs here, they lost a massive 5 games in a row. They lost a 10-point loss to the 49ers, blown out by the Dolphins. 1-point loss to the Patriots, lost to the Colts before they started to go down their path. And then the Panthers as well. Even though a solid end of the season where you get wins against the Bucs, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Saints, still doesn't matter. But bright spot, Bijan Robinson has to be. Also, Kyle Pitts. I made it I stressed. I made it a point of emphasis that the Falcons should and hopefully will franchise tag Kyle Pitts. I'm not sure if they did that yet, but if they did, and I don't know about it, I predicted it. Anyway, 8-9 season. The second half of the year definitely saved them, but it's too little too late. I do think this is a pretty average season, but I will give them a little juice. I was gonna say C, or I was gonna say C minus. I'm gonna say C, just because of how they really did solidify their pass rush. Granted, James Pierce in recent events may not be playing soon. We'll see, due to some legal issues. But anyway, they did go out and address that in the draft, and it worked out. They were getting more pressure on the quarterback. You saw it. It was clear that they found a consistent way to disrupt opposing offenses. It's just, they got it started too late. I mean, the last game that they lost here. Oh, wait, hold on. Was I looking at this the wrong way? I guess I was looking at it the wrong way. But still, you did lose 5 straight. Anyway, moving on. I'm getting carried away. The New Orleans Saints, 6-11 season. The offense was a little below average to start. Second half with Tyler Shaw looked a lot better. First season with Kellen Moore. Brand new head coach. This team really had nothing there to begin with, so really building from the ground up, and I think they did a pretty decent job for the first season. Chris Olave, fully healthy year. Thank gosh. Just seeing the amount of concussions he was suffering was getting scary, and the fact he wasn't retiring or thinking about retiring was also scary to think about, just the whole effects of CTE and everything. But I can't really talk much about the season start to finish with the Saints. It's really just one story. It was a bad team that went out and drafted a rookie quarterback, brought in a brand new head coach, and they didn't really I mean, Shaw didn't play until little later into the season before they really clicked. And I mean, maybe they didn't really get a chance to click, and that chance could be coming next season. But just for the time being, I'm gonna go D+. I'm gonna be nice and say D+ for the Saints. I mean, I can't go C just because you only did win 6 games, but I think there is some room for improvement. And there is a bright path ahead for the Saints if Shaw can continue to be a NFL level quarterback. That's all they need at this point, is be NFL level. And horribly mismanaged my time as we have one division left and 2 minutes to go. So let's do it. Starting off, San Francisco 49ers, 12-5. Great year. Giving them a B+. Obviously, halfway through the season, Mac Jones was your quarterback, but he won plenty of games. He won games for you. He got the job done. Defense is always going to be strong over there. Fred Warner did go down, which was unfortunate. It's crazy that there were rumors that he could have came back for that season if they did go deep into the playoffs. Got a nice playoff win in Philly. That is not easy. And I saw that with my own 2 eyes. B+. McCaffrey, fully healthy season as well. Last year, the whole Jordan Mason fandango the whole fantasy world, I might add, put everything into a tornado. But a solid, normal year for the 49ers, I'll have to say. The Los Angeles Rams, 12-5, great year. Just mentioned that they made a trade for Trent McDuffie. That improves their team for next year. But for last season, I'm going to give them an A-. 30 points per game, 300 yards away from 7,000 total yards, over 500 total points scored, was the league's top offense. If you watched them at all, balanced the run and pass perfectly. Puka Nacua is a monster. I don't know how he fell that late in the draft and how he was a complete unknown at BYU, but wow, the Rams got him. A-. 2 teams in 30 seconds. Cardinals, let's see, 91 yards per game. Obviously, bottom offense, scored our lowest total yardage. Defense was very, very bad. I'm going to give them an F. I mean, this is the only other F other than the Jets. Give me an F for the Cardinals. And final team, the Seattle Seahawks. Say it with me now. A+. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl, A+. And that concludes the show today. Got to get out. It's 2 o'clock. We run a tight ship here at the Bronx, but thank you for listening to Beyond the Score. We'll be back next week, same day, same time, Wednesday, 1 to 2 p.m. We'll have a much more organized show. Sorry if I was a little all over the place today. It's been a long day, and it's only 2 o'clock. Stay tuned for more of the biggest hits and best variety on the Princeton Review's 18th ranked college radio station, 3-time 2026 IBS Media Award winner, and 5-time NAB Marconi Radio Award nominee for College Radio Station of the Year, 107.7 The Bronx and 107.7thebronx.com. Thank you, everybody.
You're stepping into the ring with 107.7 The Bronx, WRRC